guys, it's Jen with 2Ns. Today we're going to do one of my most favorite manicures that I've done to date. I've already prepped my nails, including my peel base application. I use UNT or UNT, I don't know how to say it. Anyways, I got that from Amazon. The dip powder is going to be Bluetine from Revel, from Double Dip, Sea Glass, and then from Rocky Mountain Dip Powders, Aqua Lime. We're going to start with Sea Glass from Double Dip. We're going to put it on our index finger and our pinky finger. I always like to start with the lighter colors first. That way there's less of a chance that I'm going to contaminate my powder with either the darker colors or the glitters. So start with a thin layer of base. I used Double Dip, and then dip your finger into the powder, tap off the excess powder, and then take either an orange stick or a toothpick and clean up your cuticle area really well. This helps to ensure that you don't have any excess powder or product on your skin, which in turn does cause lifting, and lifting is bad. You'll be very upset if your manicure lifts because you spent a lot of time trying to make it pretty. Then do the same thing on your pinky, and I do apologize in advance. I am doing my dominant hand for this video, so if it looks like I'm a little bit awkward, I am. So one other thing, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time in this video talking about technique and how to do dip powder, because I do have other videos that are more specifically geared towards the how-tos. This video is more so that you can achieve the look that I created. So keep that in mind. If you are new to dip powder, check out my YouTube channel. I have tons of videos, and I will have tons of videos teaching you how to dip. So I did 2 coats of the Sea Glass on my index finger and on my pinky. I did 2 coats of all the colors. So after you do 2 coats of Sea Glass, now it's time to do the Bluetine on the thumb and the middle finger. I did the pour over method for this because Bluetine is very pigmented, so I didn't want to get as much powder on my skin. So by pouring it, it helped to get less powder on my skin. However, it was very chunky when I was pouring it. It was definitely not the thin powder pour that I was hoping for. I'm sure that was user error though. Did the same thing for the middle finger, poured it over and then tap it off, clean up my cuticle, and then dust off the brush, or dust off with the dust brush. Be careful when you are working with pigmented powders because that powder can stay on your brush. So if you use this brush to brush off the blue and then you use the same brush to dust off, say, a white powder, you could have dark blue remnants left. So make sure you wipe off your brush too. And now we're moving on to the second coat of Bluetine. This time I poured it a little bit better, as you can see. And then tap it off, and then same thing, cuticle, and then brush off. Doing my right hand was a little bit tricky. If you've ever tried to do something with your non-dominant hand, then you can feel my struggle right here. It was very, very awkward for me, but I figured it out. I got it handled. And since we did the pour over method, you can see that I don't have any extra powder on the pads of my fingertips, which definitely makes for a much better cleanup, less mess. We are now done with this color, so we're going to move on to the glitter, the Aqua Lime. I like to turn the glitter jars when I'm using them to kind of stir up all that glitter. And then make sure, like I mentioned, you wipe off your brush before you use this on any other light color, because we do have that dark blue in there. So here's the Aqua Lime. I'm going to start off with a very thin layer. Instead of dipping my finger, I actually placed my finger straight into the glitter. This was so that I could make sure to get more of those chunky glitter pieces to stick. When you pour it over or when you dip it in, sometimes they just don't stick as well. Of course, if you don't get as many of those glitter chunks that you want, you can always hand place them, which I actually do that later on in the video as well. But it just gives you a better starting point if you place your finger into the jar instead of dipping it or pouring it over. Here I'm using a orange stick, and I'm sorry, an orange stick, not a, using an orange stick to clean up my cuticles, just like normal, especially with these glitter chunks too, they can kind of spill over. It's a good idea to use your finger. It's actually a better idea if you use a plastic bag over your finger so that you don't get glue on your finger, but use your finger to kind of pat down those glitter pieces so that they lay flat, and then dust off the excess powder, and here you are for your first layer. And then for the second coat, just going to do the same thing. Start with a thin layer of base coat. Tap the jar on the glitter so that those glitter pieces kind of come up to the top. It's just easier for application. And I am a little bit out of shot here, so I apologize for that, but just lay your finger into the powder. And here's the correct way to do it with the plastic bag. So grab your plastic bag, tap those glitter pieces on, just kind of flatten them, and then get your orange stick or toothpick and clean up your cuticles per usual. And you can really start to see how awkward I really am with my left hand on my dominant hand. Anyways, sometimes those glitter chunks will fall off, and that is okay, like I mentioned, because we can put those on manually. Brush off the extra dust. What I did was poured a little bit of glitter into a cupcake holder, and then I took my dotting tool and I put a little bit of the top coat onto a napkin. And I'll show you why here in a minute. There you go. So just put a little bit of the top coat or base coat or whatever you're using onto your dotting tool, and then you can pick up those glitter chunks so that you can place them on your nail. But don't forget to put a thin layer of base coat on your nail before you do that. And just put as many pieces as you want on there until it looks good, until you're happy with the design. Once you have all the glitter pieces where you want them, then take your plastic bag and kind of pat down those glitter chunks again, just to try to make it as flat as possible. After we do that, then we're going to do a layer of clear. Make sure you put a thin layer of clear base on your nail, and I always pour over my clear when I'm using glitter. That way I don't contaminate the powder with glitter pieces. And then clean up your cuticle areas and dust off the excess powder. I feel like I'm speaking in circles here. Then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put glitter on the rest of our fingers. I do again like to start with a lighter color still. Not that this makes a difference since I'm pouring it over, but it just, I have a system and that's what I do. So do one layer of clear on the rest of your fingers, and then I'll be right back with you. And of course I meant clear and not glitter when I said glitter. And definitely don't forget to wipe your brush, especially when you're using those darker colors. If you notice on that napkin, there is a little bit of blue. So you don't contaminate your powders, wipe your brushes. And then once you're done with the clear, it's so easy to just pour it back into the jar. Little trick I learned is take your brush and dust off the jar, and then of course just dust off the rest of your fingers to try to get as much of that extra powder off. And then the next step is activator. This is what hardens our manicure so that we can file it. So don't be afraid of putting this stuff on. Use it generously, as much as you need to make sure that it hardens. You may want to wipe this brush as well, so that you don't contaminate any of your liquids. And now it's time to file. There shouldn't be too much shaping that needs to be done since we did that already at the beginning, at the prep stage of the manicure, but you do want to go in and make sure that your edges are the shape that you want and just kind of clean it up. And then of course around your cuticle area, if the powder is thicker there, then you'll want to file that down to make it smoother too. And just go around go around the whole hand, make sure your fingers are nice and pretty the way that you like. You can use an e-file if you prefer, whichever one is fine. Of course, e-files tend to cut down on the file time, but if you don't have a whole lot to do, sometimes a manual kind of hand file is a little bit more accurate. And then once you're done filing, dust off all of that powder there, and then it's time to buff. When we buff, this is when we make sure we get all of the scratches out of our nails from the file, and we really make it smooth and soft. The smoother your nail, the better they're going to look when you put the top coat on. I always do a test feel to see how smooth they are. If my finger can feel any ridges or any roughness, then I go back in and I take the buffing block to it for a little bit longer. Once you are satisfied with the polishing, then you're going to want to dust off the excess brush and then go wash your hands. Once your hands are washed and smooth, you can inspect them and see if you have any extra anything anywhere. I did. I needed some acetone to get a little bit of that blue off of my middle finger. So what I did is I took a brush, kind of a makeup brush, and I dipped it into the acetone and I just put it around my cuticles where I had some of that extra powder just to get it off. Of course, over time it fades and it does come off of your skin, but I didn't want to wait a few days for my manicure to look beautiful. So that does help to get some extra stuff off your skin, but you don't want to use that. You don't want to use that as a cleanup method to completely get your nails beautiful, because it does take some time. So you want to be careful. Don't get any of the powder on your skin, but if you do get it on your skin, it's not the end of the world. And then of course your second round of activator comes after you've washed your hands. And as always, wipe your brush off. Make sure you don't have any extra color on your brush before you dip it back into the activator. Make sure, again, that you put enough activator on that it soaks through all of the layers that you have. And now we're ready. We wait for the activator to dry, and then we do our top coat. Wait for a couple of minutes for the activator to dry, and then take a lint-free cloth wipe. You can get these from Amazon, and really go over every fingernail, get underneath them and on top, and try to make sure that you get any extra activator off your fingernails, because the activator will ruin your top coat, period. So anything left over, wipe it off really, really well. If your brush does harden from the activator, then if you're using the double dip liquids, it does come with the brush saver jar. You can use that. You just put your brush in there for about 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes, and let that brush soften up again. You want to make sure that you cover the top coat though. You don't just leave it with the lid wide open. So now we are on to the final step, the top coat. Make sure you have your napkin ready so that you can wipe your brush. And the first application, you just want to go pretty quickly and just get it on. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just do 3 swipes and move on to the next one. We'll go back in with more precision on the second coat. And don't forget, before you put that brush back into the bottle, you wipe your brush. Get all of the activator off of the brush before you stick it back into the bottle. That will contaminate your liquids and harden your brush. But you already know that because I continue to say it. And I'm going to speed the video up here for the rest of this top coat application so that you're not watching a forever long video. Now we're going to go in with the second coat. Take your time, spend a little bit more time on each nail. Make sure that your top coat is really smooth and perfect. Make sure that you cap your edges, get the top of your nail, the sides of your nail. Just make sure that it's perfect. I'm going to speed the time up on this part of the video also, just so that we're cutting some time off of it. I'm sure you've noticed I'm just reusing the same bit of music for this video, just for just a little bit of fun. And now we're done with the top coat, so we're going to let it dry. It doesn't take very long, about 30 seconds to a couple of minutes. Just make sure that it's not tacky when you touch it. Oh, what do you think? Looks beautiful. I love it. It's So pretty. That glitter just shines in all the right places. It's perfect. What do you guys think? Of course, we're not done yet. We do have one last final step, cuticle oil. This is a very important step. We just beat the crap out of our cuticles. Now we want to show them some love. I put an insane amount of cuticle oil on. It's probably not necessary the amount that I put on, but I figure why not? The more cuticle oil, the more your cuticles are nourished, the healthier your fingernails are and the better your manicures look. So put your cuticle oil on, spread it around, and then you're done. But I'll let you watch here for just a bit longer and then I'll see you here in a minute. And we are just about finished up here. I always rub the rest of the cuticle oil in to both of my hands just to get the most out of it, I guess. The last and final step that we do need to do, it's not necessary, but I like it just for the finished product. Take your lint-free wipe and then just wipe your nails off. Get that cuticle oil off of your shiny nails so that you can see the actual product. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. If you liked this video, give me a like, please, and subscribe to my channel. We'll have more videos like this, and then, of course, other tutorials as well. Let me know if there's anything you guys would like to see or what you thought of this manicure. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time. Bye.